ni hao, konnichiwa, shalom, ciao, bonjour, namaste, jumbo.
Bienvenidos! Hey, my name is Jedley. You are listening to Reading with Your Kids. We are beaming out to you in the entire universe from the beautiful, book-loving neighborhood of Reedville, the loveliest neighborhood in all of Boston. We are so very happy and absolutely honored that you're joining us in our mission to help all families grow closer through reading. We do that by sharing fun, thoughtful, and thought-provoking conversations with fascinating people who just happen to be writing books for kids of all ages. Please join us in our mission by telling all of your family and friends, your kids' camp counselors, a local public librarian, that they can hear us on the WREB AM/FM 24/7 radio network. And they can find us on the iHeartRadio app, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Good Pods, Podcast Addict, YouTube, Castbox, Audible, Amazon Music, wherever you find your favorite shows, you can find Reading with Your Kids. Really wonderful episode for you today. First up, Jessica Khoury is here to celebrate her middle grade novel. It's called Monster and Apprentice. And later in the show, Jane Hullab returns to Reading with Your Kids to celebrate Fart Boy and Reeky Dog Dino Doom. Hey, this is a message for all the authors that are listening. You know, you worked hard on your book. You spent months, maybe years, writing, revising, dreaming, and believing. You created characters, solved problems, overcame doubts, and brought a story into the world that only you could tell. Now it's time to help readers discover it. The Reading with Your Kids Certified Great Read program was created to celebrate outstanding children's books and to help authors reach more families. When a book earns our seal of approval, we don't stop with an award certificate. We review the book, feature it on the podcast, share it across social media, and help introduce it to parents, teachers, librarians, and caregivers who are looking for great books to share with kids. Because your story matters. And the families who need your story deserve a chance to find it. Please visit readingwithyourkids.com and click the Authors Click Here button at the top of the page to learn more. That's readingwithyourkids.com. Let your book find the readers it was written for. Hey, my friends, I want to tell you about a coffee company I recently discovered that really lines up with the values we talk about right here at Reading with Your Kids. It's called Khoury Coffee Company, and they're doing things the right way. The coffee is sourced directly from certified Rainforest Alliance farms in Central and South America, with a big focus on farms in El Salvador. I love El Salvador. They work directly with local farmers, support sustainable farming practices, and even use recyclable and combustible packaging. Now, all of that would already make me feel good about supporting them, but honestly, the coffee itself, it's fantastic. You can really taste the quality. The beans are grown in rich volcanic soil and carefully roasted, so the flavor really comes through smooth, rich, and super aromatic. Now, whether you're somebody who loves a strong espresso to get moving in the morning, or you prefer a lighter roast while reading a good book, Khoury has something you're going to enjoy. And this is kind of beautiful. 5% of all their sales goes to charities helping conserve and preserve the great outdoors. So if you'd like to try coffee that tastes amazing and supports good people doing good work, head on over to khourycoffee.com. That's AFUERA coffee.com, and use the promo code READ to get an exclusive 15% off your order. And of course, when you use the code, you're also helping support the podcast. Great coffee and helping families grow closer together. I call that a pretty magical way to start your day. Joining us right now from right outside Greenville in South Carolina, our guest is here today to celebrate her middle grade novel. It's called Monster and Apprentice. Please welcome to the show, Jessica Khoury. Jessica, how are you?
I am doing fantastic. Thank you for having me today. I'm excited to talk about this book.
Yeah, delighted to have you on. But first, I want, through the magic of technology, I'm looking into Jessica's space, and it looks great, like a great place to create. But I noticed you have a shirt on that says, "It's a great day to make a difference." What a great T-shirt.
It is. I think it's made for teachers, but I was like, I resonate with that, and it's got books on it. So
yeah. Very cool. So tell us about Monster and Apprentice. Are we going to be scared as we read this book?
There are definitely some scary parts, but it's not as scary. If you look at the cover, it's got this monster and a lunging out at you. It's not as scary as it looks, but there are some scary moments in it. So it's about a 13-year-old boy named Roland who has grown up on the streets. His dad is a criminal. He's basically been abandoned and rejected his entire life, and keeps running afoul of the law, and ends up getting picked up as he's being carted off to prison once and for all by a person named the Arcanist. Now, in this world that Roland lives in, there are monsters that lurk outside the city, in the woods, in the dark, and they hunt people. And these monsters are created from secrets. The secrets people carry too long in their minds. The dark, shameful, embarrassing things they don't want to tell anyone else. So in Roland's world, if you keep a secret too long, eventually it escapes your mind. It scuttles away into the dark. It grows teeth and claws, and eventually it'll grow big enough to come down and hunt you. So it's the Arcanist's job to stop the monsters that are being created from people's worst secrets. And he takes Roland as his apprentice, takes him outside of the safety of the city to his hut near the woods, where he will be trained on how to become a monster hunter. So it's definitely got, a lot of monster fighting and warrior heroics and things like that. But there's a lot of humor to balance that out as well.
Very cool. It's funny. As soon as you started talking about Roland and his dad was a criminal and, growing up and it sounds like no one gives him a chance. And it relates. Before I started my podcast and before I was performing, I was in social work working with kids in the juvenile justice system here in Massachusetts. And one of my clients came immediately to mind. And that was a kid. And this was a kid who wanted desperately to turn his life around and did, as far as I know, at least when we stopped working together. And so I feel kind of, just from hearing you talk about him, that there's a little bit of affection that you have for Roland, and I'm cheering for him.
Oh, thank you. And you've hit the nail on the head. That's exactly who this kid is. He's someone who has a lot of potential, but he hasn't met any adults in his life that have not seen that in him yet and taken the time to nurture him, protect him, and see him for who he is and who he could be, and take the time to care about him in that way. And I think many of us can point to someone we've known in our lives like that, or maybe for many people that is who they were growing up. The kid that just didn't seem to belong and wasn't seen by the grown-ups in their life. And that's really what the heart of this story is. It's about a kid, but I've written the book in such a way that I hope grown-ups get as much out of it. And particularly families who read the book together. And Roland was really inspired by my own childhood growing up. My family took in a lot of foster children over the years and helped raise them, and a lot of those kids are still part of the family, part of our lives. And so that really was a big inspiration for Roland and the world that he grows up in.
Wow. Well, big props to your family for taking in kids who are in need of a home. Please give your parents a big hug from me if they're still with us, because it's something that is so very needed. I was blown away when I heard the statistic that on any given day there are 360,000 kids in the foster care system here in the United States. A lot of kids out there looking for their forever homes. And I love that those kids became part of your family and that you're still in touch with them.
Thank you. And it was my grandparents actually that did a lot of the fostering. My grandfather grew up in an orphanage in Beirut, so it had always been important to him to kind of carry on the tradition of the people who raised him there and stuff. So it's kind of a family legacy there. And that was really the heart of the story when I started telling it. Roland, to me, was an interesting character because usually when I write a book, and I've written more than 20 now. This is number 16 to come out, but I've got several more lined up. Usually when I create a character, I'm piecing them together as I go along and discovering who they are, changing things about them, And, through several drafts of the book, that character becomes who they should be by the end. Roland was totally different. For me, Roland kind of came to me as a complete person, all in one bolt of lightning, I guess you could say, where as soon as he came into my mind, I knew exactly who he was and where he had come from, what his goals were, what his struggles were. And that's kind of a magical experience that writers, I feel like I particularly don't get very often. I can only think of one time it's happened before like that, where it just all at once I knew this person as if I had met them and not created them. So he's a very special character to me. Out of all the books I've written, he kind of stands out in that way as a boy that I met and told me his story, and then I was just my job to write it down.
Yeah. How long was Roland hanging out in your brain before you started writing the story?
About 2 hours. I'll tell you. I woke up on a Thursday morning about 3 years ago, and there he was. It's just in my mind. And I knew him. I knew his story, and I was so excited and inspired. I have 2 children. I packed their suitcases, I put them in the car, and I drove them to their grandparents' house. And I said, I'll see you in a few days. I have to go work on this story. I drove home and I started writing, and I wrote about half of the book that weekend. It's the only time in my life I've willingly woken up at 5 a.m. to write, and writing until 2 or 3 in the morning. And it was one I had to get out quickly. Before I guess that inspiration faded. So yeah, I literally went from here's this character to writing out most of the book in a matter of hours.
That is incredible. That must be because on stage when I'm performing, there's lots of times when an idea comes to me and it's just there and I'm able to share it with an audience, and it either goes over or it dies, and those are fun moments too. But it's when you're in that flow state, it's incredible. Talk about what that's like for you.
Well, it's not normal. I wish it was. Wouldn't that be nice?
Your kids would miss you.
For a muse of fire. Most of my books, like I say, have to have time and work and effort and thinking and making a lot of wrong choices before I figure out what the story is. In this case, and there's only been, I think, one or 2 other books where I've felt like inspired from beginning to end like that, where I sit down and I write and I just know I can see it all, the whole story in my mind at once. And again, extremely rare for me, probably for most writers. If there are any out there who write this way all the time, they need to tell me their secrets.
Yeah.
But that's when it feels like magic. And I guess the whole reason I love doing this job is for moments like that, where you're in the flow state, and even if it's not perfect yet, it feels perfect, and you're getting everything in your head onto the page the way that you want it to be. And so I think for me, the reason it worked that way is just because Roland was such a strong character. And so was Luke, the warrior who takes him on, and helps Roland grow up and become a better person and protects him and sees him and understands him. And for Luke as well, he goes on as much of a journey as Roland does, because he starts out with very different goals and very different motivations that change because of the relationship he forms with this boy that he brings on and really becomes like a father to. So the pair of them, their chemistry, their banter, their constant bickering and arguing, and their like eventual coming together, not as master and apprentice, but as father and son, was just so strong that, again, it was like they were telling me their story. Lots of fun to write that way. I wish every book was like that.
So I've read a book and I've talked to some creatives, and sometimes when we're talking about this thing, people have expressed this idea that it's not so much that ideas come from us. It's that ideas come to us, that they're floating around. There are stories out there, there are songs out there, there are jokes, whatever, that need to be told, and they're just kind of floating around waiting for someone's antenna to pick it up. Do you think that might be something that happened with Monster and Apprentice?
I think it must have been. And, they say those ideas don't wait long.
Right.
That if you don't write them, they're going to go find someone else. And one of the reasons I jumped on this was like, I need to do this before, 6 months from now, I'm going to read about a book being published with that exact same premise. It's happened before. It's happened before to me. And so, I don't know. It's one of those strange things where like, I can't prove that it happens,
Sure.
but it feels true.
Yeah.
It feels like it does. And I think this book is one of those ideas.
Yeah. What an honor it must feel to think that this idea came to you. They chose you. It wanted to be told so much, and it chose you, and here you are. You lived up to the challenge.
I hope so. For sure. It was a really fun one to write. I hope readers, especially kids, will come to it and see themselves in the pages and be drawn into it the way that I felt like I was when the idea came to me.
So I got to ask, when the kids came back from grandma's house, were they like, all right, so mom, what's up? What happened?
They're a great part of my process now. I have a 10-year-old and a 5-year-old, and they love me telling them my stories or my ideas and my scenes. And I love getting their feedback. It's like I have a test audience, like an immediate captive test audience. I can tell them a scene or a joke that I put in the story, and if they don't laugh, then I know it needs reworking. And if they do laugh, I'm like, okay, I've got gold here. I'm gonna stay in that direction. So they're really fantastic at giving me feedback and being very honest. Yeah. If they don't like it, they will tell me. Yeah. They can be quite harsh critics at times.
What did the 10-year-old think of Monster and Apprentice?
She hasn't read it yet. Okay. We're gonna read it together. Great. 'Cause I read to her every night. And I wrote this book specifically with the idea of parents reading to their kids, so the chapters are pretty short, which is something as a parent I tend to appreciate. Yeah. 'Cause you can get through it in, 10 or 20 minutes as opposed to 45 minutes before bedtime. And I have another series, middle grade series, called the Mystic School of Music Craft, that I was really astonished by the feedback I got from that one, of how many families listened to the audiobook on road trips together, how many read it together as a family. And so when I wrote Monster and Apprentice, that was really in the forefront of my mind, is thinking about not just the kid reading this, but the family, the parents, the teachers, the grandparents who might read it along with them. Yeah. So I look forward to reading it with my daughter, and she already knows quite a bit about the story, because again, I tend to bounce ideas off of them. And she's also seen me do a lot of the illustrations for it, because I also illustrate the book as well. And so, but I'm excited to see her response to it all together as one story.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that you're reading with your daughter, and that you created this book intending it to be read together by families. We are big proponents of continuing to read with our kids after they become independent readers, through the middle grade years, through even their high school years. Why is it that you choose to read with your 10-year-old daughter? What does she get out of it? What do you get out of it?
There's a couple reasons. One, she's a bit of a reluctant reader. So I think reading together gives her more confidence that she can get through a big book or a book with no pictures in it. And secondly, I think it's extremely important that, one, parents aren't just reading to their kids, but using that time thoughtfully. So when we're reading together, there are a lot of situations that come up in books, moral dilemmas, questions about life, new experiences or scenarios maybe she hasn't encountered herself, but maybe one day she will. And so I like to take those moments to pause and be like, what would you do here? Or what do you think about this decision that this character made? And sometimes she'll surprise me with questions like, well, what is that word? I didn't realize she didn't know what that word means. Or she'll, find things funny that I realize, like, I'm learning more about her personality when we read together. And I love that. And so reading together isn't just about, I'm going to, do something my child needs so they can be a better student and get all A's in school. It's about the bonding and relationship value of that time. And so I'm a really big advocate for that. And I love the name of your podcast for that reason. When I heard that, I was like, yes, these are my people. Because I think the value, we focus so much on the academic value of reading, but the communal value of it is so important too, because stories are what bind us together. communities, as villages, as families. And I think that has just as much, if not more, value for that relationship as it does for, you know, helping that kid up their grades in school.
Yeah.
So it's absolutely, that is valuable as well.
That's exactly why I launched the podcast back in 2017. I know that the relationship I have with my now adult kids was built on a foundation of reading together. And one of the nicest things I ever heard was from my daughter's second grade teacher. My daughter was a great independent reader at the time, and Mrs. Kelly, big Mrs. Kelly, who towered over me, came up to me one day in the parking lot and said, "You got to keep reading with your daughter." And I got, "Really? Thank you. Awesome." Because I was really bummed out that she was reading on her own.
Oh, yeah. I've wondered sometimes, you know, maybe I should just tell her she should go read herself before bed. But I don't want to lose that time with her. Selfishly, I don't want to lose that time with her, because there will be a time when it ends, and I know that I will miss it. So with both of my children, that's a really important ritual that we have together. Yeah.
I also love, you shared that your daughter is a bit of a reluctant reader, and you know, there's so much pressure on kids. We recently had an episode where a guest asked, "Are we schoolifying kids too early?" And I certainly think so. When you're turning pre-K into first grade, that's way too early. But the idea that, you know, okay, here's your 10-year-old, so fifth or sixth grade, she's having trouble reading. Instead of encouraging her, just go in and read by yourself, where it becomes a chore. Now you're sitting down, you're spending that bonding time together. Now she's looking forward to reading. And her memories of reading, when she starts to read for fun, and it's not an assignment, it's not, you know, I have to get this done, she's going to have pleasant memories about reading. And what a gift you are giving to your daughter.
I hope so. I really believe fostering this kind of positive feeling around the books, rather than, I'm very leery of inflicting them as a punishment, for example. That's just going to create bad feelings. You know, they pick up a book, they're instantly going to associate with this feeling of, I'm doing something wrong, I'm being told to do this, I'm being controlled, forced against my will, as opposed to every night the kids beg for the book. If you know, if it's late and we're like, "Oh, we don't have time," they get so upset. Because they're invested in the story and they're invested in that time, and it's something we do together. So yeah, the value is huge. And we talk so much about declining literacy rates and how do we combat that. And maybe it's the books are not right, or the publishers aren't right, or the authors aren't right, or the teachers or schools. And maybe a little bit of all of the above is true. But I think the biggest tool we have to combat that is communal reading, whether it's a parent or a grandparent or a teacher, but not just giving the book to the kid, but participating in the story with them side by side, is, I think, the greatest tool we have to reverse this literacy trend and get us going in the right direction again. Yeah. But it's hard because it requires time. It requires investment. It requires parents who have so little extra time as it is to take that 20 minutes a day to read with their kids. But it's so worth it.
Yeah. Well, I bet you'd agree that 20 minutes, no matter how tired you are, no matter how frustrating the day was, that at the end of that 20 minutes, when you're reading with your kid, you come out and, no, the world's not such a bad place as it was when I started reading this.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I read, for my own pleasure. It helps you self-regulate and calm down and slow down, get off a screen, and step outside of your own worries and your own world and life for a while. Brings you back to empathy. It brings you back to calmness, I think. And so I hope that I'm also giving some of that to them when I read to them as well, and just teaching them a book is a place where you can slow down and be safe. Yeah. Even if scary things are happening and there's monsters in the shadows and the characters are super stressed out, you can be safe there.
Yeah. Well, it's a great place. Okay. It's a great place for kids to sit down and imagine, oh, I got this. I can make the great choices, and I when this happens to me, I got this.
Yeah, exactly. And again, that's another reason I like to discuss things with her as we read.
Mm-hmm.
Make her think about things and don't give her all of the answers. Let her come up with the answers herself.
Yeah.
And it teaches me about her and it helps
Mm-hmm.
me teach her about, the world and life and other people and other people's problems.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. I call it sneaky parenting.
It is
You know,
sneaky
you're
parenting. Yeah.
kind of spying and they don't know about it, but it's in love and it's okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. The other way I used to love to sneaky parent, my kids never caught on to this. Anytime the group had to go somewhere, I had a minivan. I was like, "Oh, I'll drive. Come on in." And they'd jump in the van. They'd forget that the old man was up there, and I would learn all about what was going on.
You learn all the tea, all the secrets. Yep.
Hey, it seems like you were sharing that you illustrate, you have illustrations in Monster and Apprentice. How does as you're creating stories, are you seeing them as images, or are you seeing the words or hearing the words first?
Very often, a big way that I get to know my characters is by sketching them, drawing them, because that forces me to just sit with their face for hours at a time. And all you think about who they are, where do they come from, what are their secrets, what do they want in life. And for this book, I illustrated, every chapter has a unique illustration at the beginning. I illustrated the map as well. Maps are kind of my niche art thing that I do. I do a lot of that for myself and for a lot of other authors and publishers as well. And so when I'm writing the book, I'm thinking about what do I want to show, what do I want to draw to go along with it. And I draw a lot of art of the characters that I kind of share with readers. And for me, the two things are hand in hand. It's not illustrating and writing. It's one story, I'm telling it one way, and I'm seeing it both ways at the same time, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I love using art as a way to get into the story, into my characters' minds and brains, and spend time with them that way.
Yeah. Did you always know that you were going to be a storyteller?
Yes. Well, since I was 4 years old.
Okay.
Yeah. When I was 4 in preschool.
If you don't remember before 4, we'll give you a pass on that.
I mean, maybe I did. I remember I've always loved books, and that was purely a result of my parents reading to me as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. My earliest memory is when I was around 4 years old, and my mom every night would read to me. And then one night she gave me the book and said, "Why don't you try?" And the book was Danny and the Dinosaur by Sid Hoff, old picture book. And I remember stumbling over the word museum on the first page and her helping me through that. And I finished that book and I had read it by myself. And it was this feeling of just total awe. And I went to preschool the next day and I got 4 pages out of my preschool notebook and I decided to write the sequel to Danny and the Dinosaur. And I did. And I illustrated it and I stapled it together and my preschool teacher read it to my class. And so I remember that all my classmates sitting on the circle rug for story time. And the book of the day was my book, Danny and the Building Blocks by Jessica Khoury. And that was the moment I was like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And so it's always been the goal. And it's one of those goals you kind of hope will come true and you can work toward it, but you just never know for sure.
Sure.
And then I sold my first book in 2011 and have been doing so ever since. And I love it. I feel so grateful to still be here, to have gotten here in the first place. And I feel like I get to play all day. It's definitely, there's a lot of days where it's work and it's hard, but it's still play in a sense of just getting to use my imagination. And I love it. I love it so much.
That's wonderful. I love that. Hey, since we started doing a reading with your kids, I've never used a list of questions, but one of my team said, "Why don't you ask this question at the end of your interview?" So I've been trying it, and I want to know, Jessica, what would you like for a kid to hear tonight, right before they go to sleep, from an adult they love?
What would they like to hear? I think, every night when I tuck my kids in or I finish my story, I tell them I love you and I hope they have sweet dreams. And I always tell them I see you. And to me, that's an important thing. It's a big part of Monster and Apprentice as well, is I see you who you are, and you can tell me anything and you're safe with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's something I had growing up for a long time. And there was a brief period of my life where I didn't have it, and I felt the loss of it very, very severely, of not having that safe person to go to. So for me, the really important thing that my kids hear, and I hope every kid hears, and if they don't, that they find the person that will tell them that, is that you're safe with me and I see you. You're here, you're a living, breathing person, and you have wants and needs and goals and questions, and I'm here for all of that. The good, the bad, the ugly. We're going to get through it together. It's a big part of my relationship with my kids. It's a big part of why I wrote this book. And so, yeah.
Beautiful.
I guess that would sum up. Yeah.
That's beautiful. I'm so glad that you're doing that for your kids. I'm so glad that your parents did it for you. And I'm really glad that your grandparents did it for so many of those kids in this foster system.
They did. They were great role models. They still are. They're still very active in mine and my kids' lives.
Well, tell them I'm proud of them. In the meantime, let's tell everybody where they can go to find out more about Monster and Apprentice and find out more about you.
Yeah. I'll have my website, jessicakhoury.com. I'm also on Instagram at authorjess, and I share a lot of my writing process behind the scenes, a lot of the illustrations I'm working on for these and upcoming series as well. And Monster and Apprentice will be out July 14th. That's tomorrow. And it'll be available wherever books are sold.
Congratulations. We've had a wonderful time speaking to the author of Monster and Apprentice. It's the new middle grade novel from our guest, Jessica Khoury. Hey, Jessica, thanks for spending time with us.
Thank you so much, Jed, for having me.
This episode of Reading with Your Kids is brought to you by Fart Boy and Reeky Dog, Dino Doom. Fantastic new graphic novel written by New York Times bestselling author Joan Holub, who's written over 200 amazing books for kids. It's school sleepover at the museum. What could go wrong? Well, how about this? A snack-fueled explosion of garbanzo beans and peanuts unleashes a stink so powerful it brings the dinosaurs back to life. Now, Fart Boy, Reeky Dog, and their friends are in the middle of a dino-sized disaster. They have to solve tricky riddles, find missing bones, and stop the stinkiest villain of all, Professor Gravy Pants. Because if they don't, the dinosaurs could take over. Or worse, they could become Dino Dinner. This action-packed graphic novel is bursting with friendships, adventure, and enough laughs to shake the museum walls. If your kids love superheroes, if they love dinosaurs, and if they love to laugh until they can't breathe, then Fart Boy and Reeky Dog Dino Doom is the book for you. Because sometimes the power to save the world comes from the unlikeliest place. Grab your copy today and get ready for a reading adventure that's truly dynamite. You know, one of my favorite family memories growing up, and honestly still today, is gathering around the grill in the summertime. Good food, kids running around laughing, maybe somebody reading on a picnic blanket while dinner cooks. There's just something magical about it. And speaking of cookouts, I want to tell you about a company our family has been enjoying called Big Fork Brands. Now, friends, this is not ordinary cookout food. Big Fork makes incredible bacon sausage, craft jerky, meat sticks, and those amazing Chicago-style sauces that instantly level up burgers, hot dogs, fries, all your cookout favorites. Their bacon sausage is kind of legendary. They combine hardwood smoked bacon with premium pork and create flavors like hickory and applewood, maple and brown sugar, and spicy 3-pepper. Honestly, it sounds fancy, but it's really just fun, delicious food families can enjoy together. And another thing I really appreciate, they work with small Iowa farms, raising heritage hogs outdoors without any antibiotics. So there's a real commitment to quality and sustainability behind everything they make. So here's my challenge to you this summer. Plan a read together cookout night. Fire up the grill. Put the phones away for a little while. Enjoy a great meal together. And in the evening, reading together as a family. And to help make it happen, Big Fork Brands is giving our listeners an exclusive 20% discount. Just head on over to bigforkbrands.com and use the promo code READ at checkout. Great food, great conversation, great books. That sounds like real magic to me. Join us right now from the beautiful state of North Carolina. Our guest is here today to celebrate her wonderful, hilarious new graphic novel. It's called Fart Boy and Reeky Dog Dino Doom. Please welcome to the show, Joan. Hello, Joan. How are you?
Very well, thank you. I'm glad to see you. You're all happy and chipper.
Yes, I am so happy. Well, the folks who listen to the show regularly have been hearing your commercial playing on the podcast for the past few months. And that was one of the most fun commercials that I've created, just talking about Fart Boy and Reeky Dog and being in the museum and the bean dinner and all that great stuff. And I was telling Joan before we hit record, Joan's book was with me at the COSPA, National Education Convention, and everybody who walked by our booth, as soon as they saw the cover, a big smile broke out over their face, and they immediately came over to find out more about the book. So
Good to hear.
it's really, really wonderful. Tell us about Fart Boy and Reeky Dog and what happened at the museum.
Well, the way the whole book came about really was that when my brother and I were growing up, my mom would read a short chapter from a library book, like most nights before we would go to bed. And for whatever reason, we both loved and still remember, do you know The Mouse and the Motorcycle by Beverly Cleary?
Sounds familiar, yep.
I'm vaguely familiar. About a human boy whose life changes when he meets this mischievous mouse called Ralph, and that leads them to have secret adventures. And that's a little bit like I was channeling when I was writing. And also, my mom read that book to my brother and me, and I'm a born reader, but my brother just did not read. But that book got to them, the excitement of that book for him, starting us out like that. That's how we got started, I would say, reading. And that segued into Fart Boy somehow. And it's the second one that I've done. And so it was a little bit easier than the first one. They gave me the option, would you like to try illustrating? And I said, oh, I'll give it a whirl. And then they were like, well, maybe not. While writing this book, I learned a lot of interesting things that I could share with kids, like how giant long-necked herbivore dinosaurs, such as the Brachiosaurus, relied on their bodies to digest the tough fibrous plants that they ate to live long ago. And I learned that this was similar to how our modern cows produce methane today.
Oh,
and
wow.
I learned that dinos on Earth approximately 66 million years ago often made some very, very smelly farts. So that got me going on this as well. They likely died out due to a catastrophic combination of an asteroid impact on Earth and then the resulting massive volcanic eruptions that made it hard to breathe. So that's the kind of useful information that engages, but it also kind of engages them. They're excited about things exploding.
Fart Boy and Reeky Dog were spending the night in the museum.
Right, in the second book, that's what's happening, yeah. The school goes to the local museum to spend the night, yeah.
And then trouble ensues.
Trouble ensues because the big attraction, this is about 3 dinosaurs that are on display. And it turns out that they are Fart Boy farts, and that causes a big billowing cloud of trouble that bring the dinosaurs to life so that everything will go back to normal. That's what the whole is about. The dinosaurs can move and run around.
Yeah, well, dinosaurs waking up, kids can absolutely visualize how much fun it would be running around the museum chased by a dinosaur and banging into things and breaking things.
There's a lot really fun illustration with Raphael done.
So you're the author of over 200 books for kids. That's really amazing, Jane Yolen. Yeah. She told me where she gets her ideas. Where do you get your ideas for your books?
Like, what did she say? What were her, does she have like a thing? Maybe I could use it.
No, basically she said, if you go out and walk around your backyard, if you don't come back with 10 or 15 story ideas, you didn't work hard enough. You didn't try.
You can also shut that stuff out. When you like, I just finished a book. I don't need another one. Stay away kind of right now. And then you kind of will let it back in later on. Yeah. I know her name, but I can't place her. I know she's written like 1,000,000 books, so I should
Yeah.
know her names. But I think, yeah, Fart Boy and Reeky Dog. You wouldn't think that like a woman would write that, I guess. Like, but really, I guess I sort of wrote it, like I said, like with my brother in mind, someone like that that's looking for something that makes them really want to be engaged. Because if you're not a reader, there's a lot of people that are not readers out there, and they just miss out on all these books.
Sure.
So, yeah, that's kind of where it's not like I'm trying to be the person that, inspires people with books, but I'm just hoping it will kind of magically happen. Like they'll get interested in it. So.
Sure. Well, when you create an engaging story and get kids excited, our thing here at Reading with Your Kids, we're really trying to focus in on helping parents and teachers and grandparents and caregivers help their kids learn to love reading and to read for fun.
Sometimes it's just a natural thing that happens. Like certain people just really want to read, and it's how do you do that breakthrough for the kid that doesn't want to read? Because I feel like when you get past a certain age, maybe you're not going to start, really being interested in reading.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot has to do with how you're introduced to reading and in your experience. We've talked so much about, kids learn to read from kindergarten to second grade, and then they read to learn in third grade. And I imagine a kid that's not confident as they enter third grade in their reading ability, now it becomes a chore. Now it becomes something that makes them feel like a failure.
Right.
And I think one of the ways that we as caregivers can help our kids is, the more we read to them, the more we are bonding with them over stories. Now, reading isn't an assignment. Reading is something I'm doing with somebody I love.
Yeah.
Reading is making me feel good.
Yeah, that's nice. So nice. Well said.
Yeah. So tell me, did you always think that you'd be a children's author?
I don't know. I think I kind of did, but when you're young, you don't really know that. You don't think about like who's writing these books. Could I write these books? It just doesn't really, at least in my head, it didn't. But I want to. I did graphic novel work because and I was trying to get into writing books, but it was a little bit hard. And I think that the thing that I sort of took off with was probably the Goddess Girls series that I write with my friend Suzanne Williams. We had about 31 books of those, and then some other, heroes in training books. And so, I mean, that was just like wonderful because when you have like a group of stories that are kind of, multiple stories, and you kind of know there's going to be another one soon, that the publisher will ask for 4 more or something because the whole series is doing well. Then then you can slip in, like I'll come up with another little idea, like little ballerinas or something about ballerinas for ages, 4 or 5, something like that. And so that's kind of like just getting away from the series kind of thing, which we love, but it's you don't want to do that like or maybe some people do just want to do it like all the time, but I like to have a little relief, and you think of other things, so you don't want to be always like, well, I really need to do this graphic novel or something like that, because just get a little bit of room for some other things. Because I have friends that aren't like that. They have a series, and then they're going to go on vacation and do whatever, and they don't want to necessarily do something in between. And one of these days I'll stop writing, but I'm sure my husband wishes that I would, so we could go on more trips, but, so you never know.
Yeah. The graphic novel, it's something that's really becoming popular, and I think it's becoming popular with the kids that we're talking about, those kids who may be reluctant readers. I think it's a really fun way to consume stories. Yeah.
I agree. I wouldn't have really thought that it would be necessarily something, I never thought about like communicating in that way. It was usually you have the little stories, and then you have the art, but it's not quite as much art, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
but I do, I can't really say that I've read that many graphic novels now that I think about it. I think it's not that many, really. Maybe I'm trying not to have it encroach on my brilliant mastermind for, graphic novels. But yeah, I mean, I the minute I heard about them, I wanted to, and I really think, like my brother and people like that at a younger age, would have really benefited from this, outpouring of graphic novels now. It's great. I mean, I guess I haven't seen that many that are bad. So hopefully everything's, going well. I don't know I wonder what there's always a next thing. So is this going to be in there for a while or?
Yeah, but it's funny. I've been doing the podcast long enough now, since 2017. I'm seeing trends. And I don't look for them because I just enjoy speaking to authors and other experts. But you see it, and, graphic novels is certainly something where there's a lot more coming out now than there were back in 2017. And, novels in verse, is another trend that I'm noticing. And we have a lot more authors who have written middle grade novels in verse, YA novels in verse.
And that's for is that for kids? Oh, YA, you're saying?
Yeah, well, YA and also middle grade.
Interesting,
yeah. I think maybe the next thing, Joan, and maybe we can get a head start on this. Maybe the next thing is middle grade graphic novels in verse. Well, no, why not?
You never know. I'll try just about anything, which I have. I've got like everything from little to. I haven't gone beyond this. Adult. That would be the next thing, But I'm not. I don't know if I'm there or not. What do they call it? Like the new thing that's. I don't know what it is. It's like, it's sort of romance, but it's got another.
Oh, yes. Romantasy.
Fantasy. Yeah.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah. I might try reading a few of those, but then, I mean, that's such a time sucker in a way. It really will take a lot of time, and then you can't write that little ballerina book over here, but you never know.
Yeah. We've had a couple of authors on, who've written romantasies, and, I was very proud of myself. I knew what the word was before they came on. I kind of looked.
The first time I heard it, I think I was like, "What?" Yeah.
So you must have seen a lot of changes in the kidlit book industry in your time writing.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising because it'll come out of nowhere, and it comes from your agent or like a publisher out there, and they're like, "Oh, this is the new thing," and I guess it happened 6 months ago and I wasn't aware or something like that. So yeah, there are a lot of changes. A lot of, things are a lot different. Like when I look at my early books, I don't know if kids are more sophisticated in a way, even at a younger age. I bet they are, just because of they've got all kinds of, stuff that they can learn from, that it's not being fed to them by a teacher or a parent. They just find it, online or something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Fascinating. I was blown away when I attended the International Children's Book Festival a couple of years back in Bologna, Italy, just to see how big the children's book industry is. It is enormous all around the world. This event, which is not for kids, it's just for people in the industry, filled 5 huge convention centers in Bologna. It was incredible.
Were you able to hit all of them?
I went through all the different buildings. There were a lot set up for, their licensing.
I'm a line dancer on the side. It's really great because you write all day, and then at night you go to, your friends out there and you line dance. And so, that's why I got these, because we all got like book shirts. I was like, well, I'm going to put my book on there.
Sure, absolutely.
That's a lot of fun. Have you ever line danced?
Not well.
Not well?
Not well. I didn't do it well.
Well, you can't just step out there and but it's a lot of fun, and it's a lot of, you just camaraderie. And I can, I'm working all day or whatever, and it's just so nice to go out. It's a whole different group of friends than my writer friends.
Sure.
So it's like, they're not asking me, well, how's your book? Or, that I don't want to think about at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really a lot of fun. They have, big events like ballrooms, and it's really, I think Did I already say this about TikTok? But I think it might have given line dance a boost.
Quite possibly, yeah.
I need to write a book about that. Yeah.
That's next.
I know.
That could be
That
it.
sounds like a romantic-y thing.
Yeah. Well, I can see it now. A graphic novel in verse that is a line dance as well. You have to be in a line dance as you're reading it and kind of doing that stuff. And yeah.
Not quite picturing that yet, but I might work on it. I'll have to tell the people when I go to line dance this week about that. So
tell me, is there something other than the graphic novel in verse? Is there a genre of books that you're really looking forward to trying to write and create in?
I don't really think so. I mean, I think I sort of enjoy everything that I've got. I don't know if I'm looking at my books right there and wondering if I would want to go write a Zero the Hero book or, something, a picture book. I don't know. Sometimes you have to ask your agent, like, what are the things that they're not going to buy from you, no matter how good it is, because, it's not happening right now. So you do have to kind of look for that. But yeah.
Yeah. It's a good reminder that, the children's book industry is an industry. It's a business, and you need to be aware of that. So, yeah. We should tell everybody where they can go to find out more about Fart Boy and Reeky Dog, Dino Doom, and find out more about the other 200 books that you've created and put out into the world.
Today is the day that this book came out.
Oh.
So I'm celebrating it with you.
Excellent.
And, that's very exciting. And it looks like, on Amazon, which is all I have to look at, my publishers are not going to say, oh, as of today, the first day, this happened. So, it's doing pretty well in the venues that I can look at. And
okay.
So that's nice.
Yeah.
And, Rafael Rosado did such a good job on this stuff. When I drew my stuff, I should show you the illustrations. He just does a really good job. But anyway, this was super fun to write, I have to say. So I would probably be up for another one just because it was so much fun. Look at that. Look at how much work that takes for somebody to write that whole thing. And by the way, this page is where the first time that Fart Boy causes the farts.
Oh my goodness.
He was on a bus, or all three of them actually are missing a bone.
And if folks want to learn more about the other books that you've created, they can go to your website, which is joanhullub.com. Hey, we've had a great time speaking to the author of Fart Boy and Reeky Dog, Dino Doom, a great new graphic novel that just launched today from our guest, Joan Hullub. Hey, Joan, thanks so much for being on Reading with Your Kids.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode of Reading with Your Kids. Well, join us for the next exciting episode of the show. If this episode made you smile or gave you something to think about, please consider sharing a link to the show with someone you love. Leave a 5-star review and, of course, subscribe to the show wherever you find your favorite shows. If you're an author of a fantastic children's book, please be sure to visit readingwithyourkids.com. Click the authors button up at the top of the page to find out how you can be a guest. Being a guest, it's fun, it's easy. And it gives you the chance to tell thousands of Kidlit fans all over the world all about your fantastic children's book. Want to thank the folks who made today's show so wonderful, starting with our guest, Jessica Khoury. Please be sure to check out Monster and Apprentice. Also want to thank Joan Hullub. Please be sure to check out Fart Boy and Reeky Dog, Dino Doom. I want to thank my incredible team, Daylene Rose, Advina Lopez, Chris Doherty, Ella Badier. I want to thank my beautiful wife for all the love and support she gives me. Most of all, we all want to thank you. Thank you so very much for taking the time to join us today. And as always, thank you so very much for taking the time to make the world a better, more caring, and empathetic place. And you do that every single time you read with your kids. I'll be looking for you in the next episode of Reading with Your Kids.
My life is magic. My life is magic. When I wake up in the morning, I take a look around. The sun is shining on my exactly like me. I know, I hope. My life is magic. I know, I hope. What are you thankful for? Who are you thankful with? Who are you thankful with? My family, my friends. Point to your heart and say, oh, thank you, life, for making me me. My life is magic. I know my life is magic. I see the good in everything I do. My life is special. I know my life is special. There's only one me, and that makes life brand new. My life is precious, so very, very precious. Every dream, every hope I see, and I know there is no one exactly like me. I know, I know.